Beat Man City, lift the FA Cup title, and our boys Alejandro Garnacho, Kobe Maino, and Amad Diallo have indeed graduated from boys to men. Welcome to the early team news ahead of this do or die, the last game of the season, and certainly the most important game for so many, including the manager Erik Ten Hag and the youngsters. Welcome aboard. My name is Webb. Subscribe, like, and share this video. It's been a day full of excitement because, as we anticipated, it's almost a full house for Manchester United. In fact, these boys have been trying on their FA Cup final suits today. Yeah. When did you last see? Have you even ever seen Licha, for example, put on a suit? Have you ever seen Amad Diallo in a suit? Have you seen Kobe? Do you know how Kobe? Did you, if you watched that thumbnail, you saw how these boys look. Probably you want to look at them one more time. I will show them to you. But the better thing to talk about probably is not the suits these boys have clad in. It is the fact that we have got a nearly full house. Erik Ten Hag will have no excuses. It is nearly a full house for Manchester United as we do take on Manchester City with Harry Maguire also expected to be a part of the team. And that means there are options in the central defense for Erik Ten Hag. Look at Kobe right there. I think I'll keep him there for a minute. I mean, I've not seen him in a suit like that. Well, we'll have them more fitting, I think, lately. But he's a bit what old school. I think in terms of style, he's a big guy, so he loves bigger stuff. But regardless, he's smart. Anyway, let's get into it because the smartness of these players is most importantly in their heads and how exactly they are going to handle the mighty Manchester City and try to deny them a double. Now, team news: Mason Mount is back training with the team. Marcus Rashford is training well and fully properly. Lisandro Martinez is training. Alejandro Garnacho, of course, and Amad Diallo are all available for the game. So it is a full house. But the most important story coming out of Manchester United today is the fact that Bruno Fernandes has won the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year award. The last season it was won by Marcus Rashford. Bruno is winning it for the third time since he joined Manchester United. This is the third time he's winning it. Now that's how important this captain of ours is to the club. Big motivation for him. It was probably an obvious win, definitely. In my video where I was talking about my top 5 best Man United players, I think I put him at number 1. So it can't be a surprise for anyone that Bruno, and people will talk about the few people who want to focus on the negative will talk about the few games that Bruno struggled. But I think by and large, the entire season, Bruno has been that top performer for Manchester United, and it's good to see it. Now, his performances will all come down to how he performs against Manchester City in the FA Cup final on the 25th. Now, Erik Ten Hag, of course, has spoken. Will speak to the press today. Of course, before I hadn't spoken before by the time I recorded this video, but he will speak to that. Of course, later on in my next video, we'll reflect on what he says. But the reality is he'll be a bit more spoiled for choice. There will be more depth in the team, which is so important in a final like this. You need depth in your squad. He will be hoping to have all his players psyched up. He has got a few selection headaches because the debate is mostly between Amrabat and Casemiro. Who starts? Is he playing both? If he plays both, who is he sacrificing? Because as it looks, chances are that Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez will be starting in central defense. Now, Anthony Martial as well is back to offer some option at least one more time. He could come and end it last, especially the fact that this will be his last chance to play for Manchester United. That alone, because we know what he can do on a good day when he's in his good mood. We know what he can do. So this could be his last chance to come out there, Martial off the bench, and perhaps destroy Manchester City and leave with a statement. I think which better way than that for you to sign off what has been a largely below expectations time period at a club like Manchester United. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think, honestly, Wembley is going to be an emotional space for mostly Manchester. I'm sure there are also Manchester City players who will be playing their last game at Wembley to move on to other clubs. But for most important for Man United players, I think it's going to be quite emotional because chances are that many of those players might not stay for long, might not be staying for long. And you think they'll just want to die. I mean, one more time, you want to die for the club so that you live with people having a good memory of you. Imagine if a player like Rafael Varane, for example, who we are sure is leaving. Anthony Martial, if they are the guys who win the game for us, Varane defends us and saves us from a Haaland goal. pockets Erling Haaland, which we know he can do if he's 100% fit. You look at Anthony Martial as well, scoring maybe a brace in that game off the bench. You can imagine how that would mean. It would be a proper send off of two players who have been loved by the club, but certainly nature has denied them, I think, the success they would have anticipated. So it's going to be a good game. But getting proper into the squad, and of course, I'll give you my probable starting 11 in my next video after Erik Ten Hag has spoken to try and reflect exactly on try and read his mind and see what exactly he has in mind. But the thing is, I think for me, this game is a big opportunity for the youngsters, and that's why I'm sticking on them to the Kobe's, the Amads and Garnachos of the world, and Rasmus Højlund. I think this is a good opportunity for these youngsters because if you think about it, what's the biggest game Man United has won with these youngsters? Yes, we are seeing them as the future of the club, and of course they've got all the time in the future to go out there and win big games and big teams and all. But at least this season, that has been full of so many wrongs. And this is the season we've seen all of them. This is the season we've seen Kobe Maino. This is the season we've seen Amad Diallo. The same season we've seen Rasmus Højlund. I'm thinking, what is the biggest game if you look back that these kids have been involved in and they have won? Because yes, you can win games but lose them. Probably the quarterfinal against Liverpool, probably, but it was different. It wasn't a final. This is a final. First of all, this is at Wembley. You expect a packed up Wembley. In fact, the police in the UK has given Man United and Man City supporters different lanes to use so that they don't fight to try and avert riots. So you can imagine it's a big game. These kids have never experienced this atmosphere. We don't know how they'll respond to it, how they'll react to it. Will it scare them? Because at times in such games, at times because when the fans are so rowdy, because the Man City supporters will come out there knowing that mean United will be set to frustrate them. And what will happen is they will be ready for war, I would say. Expect commotion to start from outside the stadium between the supporters. We've seen before, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we've seen it before. Supporters trying to attack the team bus and stuff. So expect a different atmosphere altogether away from home. Wembley is a whole different ball game. It's the home of football in the UK. So for these kids, this is a divine opportunity, and they are facing public enemy number one in Manchester City. It's a grudge match. It's a proper revenge. We don't want to be beaten by the same team back to back in a derby. I think this would be the fourth time in a row if they beat us. They beat us in the FA Cup final. Then the Premier League, I think they beat us home and away. I forget what the result was in the first leg, but I think it was still a loss. It must have been a loss. And then they beat us again. I think it wouldn't augur well with this player. So it's a whole different atmosphere. And that's why I'm thinking if Manchester United win this game, this will be proper graduation we need for these players going into the off season for them to have really signed off with the title of men, not boys. They will have graduated from boys to men, which for me I think is so important because then it means by the time we get into the preseason, of course, some of them are going to be playing big competitions, Garnacho with Argentina, the Euros for Kobe. Certainly, you expect them to return more mature, more experience. Yes, they are young, but they have got more experience at the topmost level. And for me, that's a good basis for us to start the upcoming season. So, because if anything, by the way, whereas Man City are odds-on favorites to many, my thinking is this Manchester City is not so good. It's not the best Manchester City I've seen. It's not shockingly good. It's not stunningly good. It's beatable. That's why I'm thinking if we prepare well for this game without all our players available and fit, Erik Ten Hag will have the selection headache. But if he selects his players right, I think we can give Manchester City a proper run for their money and deny them a double. And if that happens, Erik Ten Hag will have created another situation for Ineos. They'll have now a lot of thinking to do in terms of whether they keep him or not, because there are reports, of course, that have come out suggesting that he will leave after that game at the end of the season, with Kylian McKenna coming in, but it looks like McKenna is wanted mostly by Chelsea. But there's still Mauricio Pochettino on the radar. The fans seem to be for Erik Ten Hag staying, but for me, the winner in all of this, the people we need to focus more on, and not even the manager, who the manager will be or not. It is these kids and what exactly they will do in what you would call the biggest game of their young careers at this. But My prediction, I will still give after listening to Erik Ten Hag and what he says, reading his mind. The beauty is he will have depth. The only key player missing is Luke Shaw. He could even be a surprise because he was even summoned for the for the England team. So if he was summoned for the England team, what was the confidence that Gareth Southgate had summoning Luke Shaw, who has not been playing for a long time? Well, we've always known that he will perhaps be back. Erik Ten Hag said he got a little setback in his recovery, but you never know. You never know between now and Sunday. You never know what surprise you can get. Erik Ten Hag will confirm later today whether there's a chance that he could sneak into the squad, perhaps at least be on the bench. So that we see him and we have a full, complete squad. But Lindelof, all the others are back in training, all psyched up to try and give their best one more time this season. And of course, hope that they can spoil the party for these city boys who think, these noisy neighbors, who think they can have an easy double just because of how good they have looked compared to Manchester United lately. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot, and those are the three little musketeers. Of course, the fourth one we know, Rasmus Hoyland, wasn't pictured in the suit, but yeah, those are the boys we're looking upon to change the future of Manchester United. My name is Webb. Subscribe. I'll catch you later, fam.